Do you have a dream? Are you holding back from making that a reality because you're waiting for permission or you want the exact timing to line up? Well, forget all that because it ain't gonna happen. Today, we are talking with an innovator, a amazing woman who has taken her dream and created the roadmap as she went. She found a need and she created it. We are going to be diving into what it means to innovate, to be courageous, and to follow through in our dreams and to know that now is not the time to shrink. Now is the time for you to soar. I'm Clara Capano, and this is Clarity in Action. Welcome to Clarity in Action. This is the show where we have real conversations that are going to challenge your perspectives and drive real action. So if you are tired of holding back and you're ready to make bold moves, this is the show for you. Join us as we are going to take you from confusion into clarity. Welcome everyone to another episode of Clarity in Action. I am really excited for this one. This one is a long time in the making because we are talking about innovation. We are talking about not just breaking the system and rebuilding it. We're talking about building it brick by brick from the ground up. And to help me with this discussion, I have an amazing woman. This is Mariah Prince-Allen. So Mariah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Claire. I'm so excited to be here. This is such an
Yes.
opportunity. I'm just so glad that our paths is able to cross.
I know for sure. And, one of the reasons I really wanted to bring you on is because there are so many people out there that have a dream,
Yeah.
but they talk themselves out of the dream. They get nervous with it. And you have taken something and repackaged it in a whole new way. You are doing healthcare for women, but doing it in a way of telehealth for women. And I know there's a lot of things out there with mental wellness and all of those, but this really wasn't an area that was open. So I would love to just kind of kick it off by saying, what was your moment of clarity that you were like, this is needed and this is something I need to do?
Yeah. So I think for me, my moment of clarity was realizing that although I was a nurse practitioner, I didn't have to follow the traditional career roadmap,
Mhm.
which is, working in a hospital or working in a doctor's office, that I could actually own my own practice. And with that came a need because I always loved women's health. I actually wanted to become a women's health nurse practitioner. But my advisor in grad school had said, don't pigeonhole yourself that niche, like just do family nurse practitioner. So when I graduated from grad school, the only jobs I could find in women's health was like birthing babies or working at the health department. And I was like, this is not it.
Mhm.
This is not what I want to do. So it was during COVID, I feel like, where everybody has this like life, like changing moment
Oh,
that I was like, okay, women's hormone health. What exactly is this? Oh, this is interesting. Oh, I like this. Oh my gosh, like this doesn't exist. Like there is no help for these women. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do right here because I didn't learn about menopause, women's hormone health in grad school. I didn't learn about it in nursing school. So
doctors aren't even learning about it.
no, so I didn't learn about it. And so I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, this is truly a need. Like, there is truly a forgotten, I call them the forgotten women of society. They are truly forgotten in healthcare. They're forgotten literally in the world. Like, nobody just seems to really think about the key needs of the women that I have the luxury of serving every day.
I love that. So let's talk about this. Again, you were building, you mentioned you don't have to follow the roadmap, which
Yeah.
is great and very freeing. At the same time, if you don't have the roadmap, you got to build the road. So
Yes.
talk to me a little bit about, some of the struggles that you had in building this new road.
Oh, I had plenty. So I think for me, I have always been like, I think most of women out there, I've been a very high achieving woman. Like there wasn't much in life till before I started my business that I didn't actually succeed in. So imagine being a nurse practitioner with all of these, accolades and degrees, be like, hey guys, like, I'm a Duke grad, like, literally depending on my experience and my credentials to get patients into my practice. Well, that quickly did not work. We officially like launched in 2023 and I got no patients. None. And the ones that were reaching out to me were not my ideal clients. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Was this the right move? But I think for me, I had to really learn what I didn't know. So I didn't learn anything about business. So I had to learn that. I didn't know anything about, actually truly having a virtual practice. So I had to connect myself with other people who either had a virtual practice or had a successful brick and mortar functional medicine practice so that I can learn to see what other people have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love that idea of you got to go out there and you've got to learn what you don't know, or at least
Yes.
find the people and hire them to do the things that you don't know, because it's a whole new animal. I think a lot of times, going back to something I started off with, it's this idea that we all have these dreams, yet
Hmm.
we don't always fulfill them. And I think a lot of times we're sitting around waiting for someone to give us permission to do it. What
Yeah.
would you say to someone who is waiting for that permission?
Give yourself the permission. I think that's what I needed too. Because like when I first wrote my business plan, like I was literally showing it off to like other people. Like I even talked about it with my OBGYN. I was like, do you think this is a good idea?
Mhm.
I was waiting for validation that I could do this. But I think when I realized that I didn't need anybody else's validation, I just needed to go with the vision and the purpose that God gave to me and know that if He gave it to me, He was going to ensure that it was going to be successful and that I just had to have patience and just wait for my moments of clarity and just learn the things that I didn't learn and just don't wait for anybody else to give you permission because no one's actually going to give it to you.
Exactly. I want to dive a little bit deeper into this with this keyword that you used of validation, because I think the reason that we search for validation is that I think gives us the confidence.
Yeah,
It for on some level tells us, oh yeah, this is going to be okay. But like you said, it wasn't created, so it's not like somebody's going to give you the validation that
right.
you're doing it. And so what would you? How do we let go of that fear? Because it's easy to say, for you, it was your faith, but not everybody has that. So, what are some other things that we could do to give us that confidence when we don't yet have it?
Yeah, I would say one, trusting yourself. And
Mhm.
I think for a lot of women, we want to get more certifications, we want to get more degrees, we want to get all of these different things to validate us. But
Mhm.
your life experience itself is a validation, right?
Oh,
So when I first started telehealth for her, I was like, well, I'm kind of still new to hormone health. I don't really know if I am really able to do this. Was completely overwhelmed by imposter syndrome. And I had to be like, Mariah, you've been a nurse practitioner for 7 years at the time. And I was like, you have lots of experience. You've been in healthcare since you were 16 years old. Like you have taken care of women your entire career. Like use those experiences and what you saw to actually, validate that you can do this. You have the education, you have the degrees, and just do it.
oh my God. When you say that, I don't know what it was, but I felt something in me unlock a little bit, because it's so true.
Yeah.
We think that the only experience is the boardroom experience.
Hmm.
And we forget, one of the areas that I spend a lot of my time on is in real estate. And I tell people all the time, everything you've done before is going to help you.
Right.
It's problem solving, it's decision making, it's empathy, all of those things. And you're right, we have to tap in and almost look at our own life resume, not just job resume. And I think that's
Yes.
a really powerful one. I want to go in on something that you brought up sooner is, as you were looking for your passion, not only was it stuff that you were interested in, this knowledge of this specific area isn't being served. I would love to
Mhm.
ask you to open up a little bit more on that and why this mission is so important right now in the world.
Yeah. So I would say I kind of feel like my brand and my mission kind of fell in the time of like the menopause movement. Like
Yeah.
right now, I feel like everybody and their grandmother is talking about perimenopause and menopause, thanks to the celebrities, I feel like bringing awareness to it.
Mhm.
But I think I come from a different lens of this particular topic. There's a lot of people who talk about, oh, the hot flashes and all the symptoms, which is great to bring acknowledgement to that. But my biggest mission is to bring awareness to the other side of menopause and perimenopause we don't think about, which is what I talked about in my TEDx. Like it's the societal impact of this condition on women and also society. And I think that's where my mission comes from. Because for me, like I'm not in the perimenopause, menopause stages just yet, but I see women completely disappear and lose themselves. I see them not being able to say, okay, great, I'm going to take this promotion, but they're so fatigued or they're having brain fog that they don't want to advance their careers or they're leaving the workforce altogether.
Mhm.
And for me, it was like, I can't imagine that happening to me, all that I've worked for, all that I've sacrificed for this career moment, just to feel like I can't take the next step because I don't have the energy, the physical energy to do so. Or I feel like I don't have the, the cognition and the brain power to do that. And I just couldn't imagine, women who have worked so hard in their careers, so hard in life to lose themselves. And I think it's just really important and for us to acknowledge that. And that's where my true mission and power comes from. So I usually tell women all the time, I'm not the hormone girl. I'm not the hormone clinic. You will come to me and get a full whole woman experience.
Yeah.
We are going to help you with everything.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there was so much in that last statement, and I encourage people to pause and re-listen to that last segment so much because there was so much in there, not just for women, but also the men that
Yes.
love these women.
Yes.
Because it's true. And I think men go through it in their own shape and form too, whether it's just age or whatever. But I think so many of us, you're absolutely right. We work so hard and then we get to this place where whether we are let go, downsized, hormones, whatever, where we shouldn't have to give that up just
Right.
because of this moment in time. And I think the other thing that really stood out for me, because I was going to ask you this and you brought it all together on your own, is you were coming in. And again, it was just right place, right time, this whole menopause movement. It could have been easy for you to say, who's going to listen to me?
Hmm.
We've got these people with PhDs and all these credibility. And instead of doing that, you said, no, I've earned a seat at the table
Yes.
and I'm going to bring it from a different perspective, from a different lens. And I think that is such a big message because there's a million people. There's a million people doing what I'm doing.
Right.
Nobody is doing it the way that I am doing it. And we have to remember that because you know what? Not everyone's going to follow us. All we need is one, five, 100. It's
Exactly.
can we help the people that we are meant to help? And so I think that that's a big message because no matter what you do, whether it's healthcare, branding, speaking,
Hmm.
podcast, teaching, whatever, there's always going to be somebody else in the same room,
Right.
but that's okay. There's room in that room for all of us, especially when we can highlight our perspective. So
Yeah.
thank you for really bringing that in. I thought
Yeah.
that was
You're
huge.
welcome. And I think too, just letting women know and letting society know that even though there's a million people doing it, there's no one doing it like you. And there's no you in everybody else.
Yeah.
So your own uniqueness is what makes you different and just finding ways to be able to showcase that.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
just, a big message again, not just for women, but for anyone, when you're going through times of challenge, whether it's your own personal hormone setbacks, it's an illness in your family, it's whatever it is, there's going to be times where you feel fatigued and you have those moments. Get help.
Right.
Make sure they're reaching out to you. They're reaching out to somebody because you don't want to stop and you shouldn't have to give up. And in this day and age, it is not a badge of shame. It's a badge of wisdom and a badge of
Yes.
strength to say, you know what, I'm going through this. I need some help.
Right. And I think too, that's what allowed me to get kind of where I am today because I could have given up 2 years ago when I first launched my practice. But okay, this isn't working. Nobody's listening to me. Like nobody's coming to see me. I'm just going to go back to my regular job and call this a day.
Mm.
And I've had other challenges outside of just, nobody's coming.
Yeah.
I've had family illnesses. I've had family deaths. I've had, my own imposter syndrome. I've had my own just fatigue of saying yes to everybody else but myself.
Mhm.
And I think there's like I was telling my husband the other day, I was like, my life and has changed so drastically in the last 10 months since I started saying yes to myself and no to everything else that was not serving me.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the growth too, is just realizing when you're kind of in the struggle, when you're feeling like you don't really, believe in yourself, you're looking for that validation, you're looking for that next strength forward, really do a true life survey and
Mhm.
see what is draining you. Because there may be some things that you may be saying yes to that you don't need to be saying yes to. There may be things that's, just draining your energy, draining your mental space. Like, really do a life survey and say, okay, yeah, this isn't serving me anymore. And it's okay to say no.
And again, the things that served us when we were 20 may not be serving us when we're in our 40s. And
No.
understanding that, part of growth. And it's hard.
Right.
It's hard because it's a new identity. It's, things we have to let go of that we've loved at one time. It could be people. So it's really hard. As a high performer, I love to start my day with two critical things. One, time with my dog, and two, coffee. And not just good coffee, but great coffee. I am proud to have Fetch Coffee Roasters as a sponsor for Clarity in Action, not only because they have great coffee with fun names such as Muddy Paws and Squirrel, but also for every bag of coffee that they sell, they donate $1 to helping dogs in need. I mean, how much better could it get than that? In fact, they've raised over $25,000 in their local communities. So go over to fetchroasters.com and grab your coffee and share some love with some dogs in your community too. I want to rewind a little bit to something you said earlier in the
Yeah.
conversation, how when you did your initial launch, nobody came. It would have been really easy to have that rejection take take you out, but you
Yeah.
didn't. So what were some of the things that you did in that moment, and what would be some advice that you have? Because the reality is not everything works. So
Right.
how did you use that setback as a comeback?
I would say for me, I use that setback to really get clear on my messaging, but also my mission. So when
Yeah.
I launched Telehealth for Her 2 years ago, I was just like fee for service. I help everybody and their grandmother come and see Mariah. And now I like went through a huge mastermind last summer.
Mm.
I learned exactly who I wanted to serve, exactly who I did not want to serve.
Yep. Mhm.
And I just, I took that time to really get clear on what it was that was going to ultimately bring me joy.
Yeah.
Because I was leaving I wanted to leave my current job because it wasn't fulfilling to me. So
Mhm.
why would I build a practice that also wasn't fulfilling to me?
That's right.
So I had to make sure that as I relaunched and rebranded Telehealth for Her, that it was in alignment not only with like the business profitability, but my personal profitability. Was
Mhm.
it going to bring me the energy, the joy, the freedom, and the peace that I ultimately wanted in my life? And so I would say, okay, great. Now, do the things that I have now in this practice, do they align with that? But I
Yeah.
think for me too, it was also learning that I didn't have to do this by myself. And I think as high achieving women, we always like, nobody else can do it better than I can. I'm just going to do this by myself. But one of the things that I learned through Rachel Rogers, because I'm a big fan of hers, is that if you want, you're not a solopreneur, you're an entrepreneur. So when we're asking God for the things that we want, like we're asking Him for growth of this practice, if He was to give me the 20, 50 people that I wanted at that given time, I personally did not have the bandwidth to see all of those people. So I built a team before we even relaunched, right? It was like I had my health coach in place, I had my life coach in place, I had an executive assistant in place, I had a personal trainer that I can refer patients to, and I built a team of community. And so when we launched, we were all ready to go. And when we relaunched the practice, it was like, great, I can handle these women that are coming to me. And I can also deal with, the family things that I was dealing with, because literally the week after we relaunched, I lost my aunt who was super close to me. But I was able to step back in that time because I already built my team and they could handle things that I didn't have to handle. So I would say, the biggest things and the lessons that I've learned was that one, you don't have to do it by yourself. It does not have to be perfect. Just do it.
Yep.
And you'll perfect it, you'll learn it, everything will get redesigned as you continue to grow and to do. But if you're waiting for the perfect moment, you're waiting for the perfect branding. This is not the branding I had 2 years ago, guys. It's
Yeah.
already
Mhm.
redone, right? But just learning to just go and take the step and not waiting for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is never coming.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, if you could look at sort of the landscape of the world today, if there was something that you could shift in the mindset
Mhm.
of the global world, what would that shift be? What would you encourage people to change in the way that they approach things in the mindset that we have?
I would say, especially for women, because we are all, not good at this. You are worth investing in yourself. I think that if we want to do everything for everybody else, we want to make sure the household is good. We want to make sure our kids are good. We want to make sure everybody else is good first. And then we want to step up to ours to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
But if you invest in yourself first, it actually trickles down to everybody else. I think there's a reason why we say, happy wife, happy life, because it really does trickle down to her entire household. When mom is taken care of, when wife is taken care of, when you as the human is taken care of, when you can take care of yourself first, everything else will fall into place.
Yeah. You have to be your biggest asset.
Yes.
Because you can't serve others if you're depleted. So I love that. Mariah, you are incredible. I applaud you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
I applaud you for showing up, not giving up, and really being able to, again, come from that different lens, come from that different perspective, and serve a need that needed serving. And I would love to have you share. I know you have a lot going on. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up next for you.
Yeah, so I just recently did a TEDx talk called the menopause conversation we're not having. So I am in the process now of actually launching that into the world. I am also getting ready to be a part of the Whole Woman Experience. It is actually a docuseries and a book and a conference. So I'm really excited about that. That's going to take place on September 20th in Charlotte. I think next for me too is as I was writing my TED Talk, I really uncovered a new passion of mine, which is really helping women in the workplace and trying to actually help corporations become what I call hormone intelligent. So getting into like the corporate wellness consulting space, and then also just continuing to be on the stage and actually just educate women, which is something I never thought I would have done. But I really do have realized that I actually do love speaking and educating women. So I'm going to those are my next adventures. I'm super excited about them.
Those are fantastic. And please be sure to share all of those with us so that we can continue to push them out to our communities. So
Thank you. I definitely will.
So one last final question before I let you go for today.
Yes.
Sitting where you sit today, learning everything you've learned up to this point in time, how do you define success for yourself now?
Yeah. So I define success for myself now by literally, it's the title of my chapter in this book. It's called Becoming Her: Perfection Over Purpose. So for me, my success is doing what is meaningful to me, not what society thinks I should have done, and just becoming my whole self and just rebranding myself and like as my personal self, right? So I'm no longer just, the straight A student, the Duke grad and all the accolades. I am, Mariah Prince-Allen, a woman who truly knows who she is, what she wants. So I definitely would say I am a recovering perfectionist and really stepping into my true purpose and what it is that I'm supposed to do in this world.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, Mariah, thank you so much for sharing with us. Your words
Thank
are
you.
inspiring, and I know that they're going to help so many, and I can't wait to share you with the world. So thanks for being here with us.
Thank you so much, Claire. It's been so awesome to connect with you today. And thank you so much for having me. This is great.
All right. Well, there was so much to unpack there with Mariah. I just can't even, so many nuggets. And again, I realize that her message is around menopause, which can seem like it's just female focused, but I think it touches all of us in life because we either know women, we are a woman, or a lot of these same things can really go into just leadership and entrepreneurship. I think one of the biggest things that I took away is towards the end, she talked about the fact that so many of us think that we're solopreneurs or that we're going out there on our own. And we have to push that aside and realize no one can do it alone. So get your team together, whether your team is your home support system, your coach. Again, for her, it was finding people in the other areas that she could collaborate with. No one can do it alone. So you got to build your team. Another big thing she talked about is having a life audit, a life survey. Go through what lights you up, what drains you, what are the things that are no longer serving you? Because just like we do spring cleaning in our house, we've got to do spring cleaning in our life because things that worked for us in the past may or not work for us right now. So really see, where are you now? what matters most to you now? What is it that you need? What is it you need to let go on? She talked about her setback, how she went for her initial launch and it completely bombed. So many times in those moments, that's when people stop, they retreat, they give up. She didn't do that. She took that as a moment to learn, to pivot, to understand, and to get the clarity that she needs. And then we talked about, what do you do when the roadmap doesn't exist? You got to learn what you don't know. You're building it, you're building your dream from the brick up. You got to excavate the land first and get everything together. You got to be sort of that civil engineer and plotting things out that don't exist before they even are there. And you got to learn, you got to go and you got to do your due diligence. So take the time. Going slow is still going. So make sure you're doing that. So I just think that this was so great. Knowing that you got to trust yourself, you got to look inward, believe in yourself, because you're not going to be getting that knock on the door with the validation that says, now you're ready. So go out there, learn, put in the work, get your team. And I really encourage you and I ask you, share this. Share this with other women who are going through this time in their life, because it is a movement and we are struggling. So I would encourage you to share this with women that you love, whether it's a friend, family member, spouse, whatever, because this is going to help them. And then also just share it with others who are maybe looking at doing a pivot and looking at building their own dreams. So thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us, and always keep following for more clarity in action.